What do you say we cut the chit-chat a-hole?
This year we're going to grab the bull by the balls and kick those punks off campus.
Well, looks like the cows have come home to roost.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Entertainment.ie movie show, whether you be watching on Facebook and Twitter or listening via iTunes or Stitcher or the like. This week we have a competition for some Lego Ninjago goodies. So to win those goodies, if you're listening, log on to our Facebook and comment. If you're watching on Facebook, just comment. Tell us who voiced the main character in the Lego Ninjago movie. Comment below and we will pick a winner at random next week. As always, I'm joined by Dee Malumbi, staff writer.
Hey.
Brian L. Lloyd. Lloyd.
I
always forget. I always forget, like.
And I'm not going to get excited about it like I did
It's
before.
only because it's your Twitter handle. Like, I mean, who has their initial in their middle name?
Because
like?
some asshole. I promise I wasn't.
You said you weren't going to shout, and you're going to blow Charlotte Reed's ears off again.
I'm really sorry. Okay, because some.
In fairness, I'm winding them up. Like, I'm totally enabling them. I'm totally enabling them.
Some asshole has Brian.
1 o'clock in the afternoon, Brian. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Can we beep that out?
A not very nice man.
a meanie bot. A meanie bot. Took my name, Brian Lloyd, and he hasn't tweeted in about at least 3 years, and he's just sitting there hogging it, and I have to pick my middle name, and I hate my middle name, and I'm not going to reveal it either. Okay, it's just so you
so it's an L.
No, it's an M.
Oh, an M. Sorry.
It's because of Lloyd having two L's.
Fiona there having a chuckle there.
It's
I heard that, Fiona.
Is it
not helping.
Is it Mark?
No, it's not.
Margaret?
We're not getting into this. We're not getting into this.
Mary?
We're not
what's
getting
it? No,
we're not getting into this. 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 Let's just move on with the show. I think you've roiled me up by now.
DM them an offer. Can you be like, look, follow for DM, and you can be like, I'll give you €50. Anyway, sorry. Every week, I enjoy it every week. I really do enjoy it every week.
I don't want it that badly. I'm not paying 50 quid for a poxy Twitter handle. I'm sorry.
He kind of seems so passionate at first. Then he gets over it, and then he comes back to it. Anyway, let's talk about some films.
Yes.
Geostorm didn't press screen. And there's an issue with the partial press screen.
Wonder why.
But I mean, Kira King from 2FM is going over to interview Jared Butler for us. So we'll have that on the show next week. So we will have an interview, all going well, with Jared Butler next week. But it does open today.
Yes.
So we should have the interview online next week. Anyway, okay, what did press screen, DM, what looks like a lot of fun is another Jason Blum film, Happy Death Day. This looks like great crack.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, so it's about this college girl who's kind of like your it girl. She's very popular. She likes kind of, flirting with men and drinking and partying and all that kind of good stuff. And then on her birthday, she is killed. And then she wakes up and it's her birthday again. And she realizes that she keeps on getting killed on her birthday and she keeps reliving this day over and over again. And in order to kind of break the curse, I suppose you could call it, and be able to actually live to see tomorrow, she has to find out who her killer is and basically stop them.
Okay, so there's an Edge of Tomorrow vibe by way of
Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
it's been described as Groundhog Day meets Scream, which I think is a bit simplistic because it is very different to both those movies. Now, the first thing I would say is going into this movie, because Jason Blum and Blumhouse Productions have obviously become so synonymous with horror. They're behind the Insidious movies, Sinister movies. They did Get Out and Split and the Paranormal Activity movies, which is what kind of sparked them all off. This isn't really a horror film. I was surprised by how ungraphic it was. Like, every time she gets killed, it basically kind of cuts, so you don't really see.
Because he didn't want to make it
really
R-rated in the US. That's what it was.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, and what it actually becomes is kind of more a horror comedy, and really more a comedy at that, one of your kind of teen or frat house kind of comedies. And I really liked that about it. I went into it and I found that I actually did have good fun, and the characters have so much banter with one another, and there's a lot of funny comical situations and lines and everything. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Now, a real big horror nut is probably going to be disappointed going into it on that basis, because it's not really a horror. Yeah. We're
going to talk about another Vince Vaughn film coming up next that I think probably has enough of that kind of gore and spades.
Yes. Yeah,
but is that where the Scream vibe comes to? It has a bit of a wry sense of humour about itself, obviously, because somebody gets killed. We saw on Edge of Tomorrow. They're kind of and then they get murdered.
They play for cartoon.
Play for cartoon effect. Is that what happens here?
Yeah, they really do that really effectively. And I really liked, the cast is kind of all of these newcomers, and they were all very good in it. I even said in my review, I don't think this would have worked with a really well known established cast, because these guys are really able to kind of have fun with it and have fun with the script and everything. So it's well, written. It kind of keeps you intrigued with all the plot twists and turns and everything. So it's like a really good, solid movie, I have to say. My only like faults on it would be the script was maybe a little cheesy at parts and didn't maybe totally wrap up everything as well as I would have liked it to, maybe because it had that like supernatural element.
Yeah.
It didn't kind of answer
They are
maybe
saying,
all
Jason
the
Blum
questions.
is saying that they're because it's made so much money at the box office, they are going to make a sequel.
I was going to say it's
Yeah.
and they're going to
Yeah.
address the why in the sequel, which is always kind of tricky to do with stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
you know, it's not real. You know, how do you...
I don't know where they'd kind of go with the sequel, to be honest, unless they looked at like totally different characters, unless, I don't know, they did something with her and she's like magic or something. I don't know. I don't know what they would do with the sequel. That's a weird one. I'm surprised by that, to be honest.
These films are made so cheaply. They're generally made for around, I think Jason Blum was saying his budgets are around $5 million dollars max, and they make like hundreds of millions worldwide.
It's crazy.
So
they're doing so well.
I think they do want to keep those budgets low, but that's I'm actually might go and see that this weekend. It looks like fun.
It is a bit of fun.
Kind of easily digestible horror. Have a laugh while you're
and
there.
it's only 96 minutes long, which is great.
There you go.
That's what you want.
That's like a 90-minute horror. A 90-minute horror comedy. For this time of year, that's perfect. That's exactly what you want.
Exactly. Okay, now let's talk about something a bit more gore-ridden, Brian Lloyd.
Wow.
I'm a huge fan of Vince Vaughn. I have been for many, many years. He's great at the comedy stuff. Obviously, Wedding Crashers, Old School.
Yeah. That one that you're always Swingers.
Swingers is one of my favorite movies. It wouldn't necessarily be a comedy, but after Swingers, Vince Vaughn's career was kind of not strange, but they seem to put him in these positions where it was like, okay, you've got the Brando thing, you've got the Marlon Brando thing going on. We're going to put you in these intense, dramas and kind of character-driven dramas. And it was around that time in the 90s, post-Swingers, where these dialogue, heavy-driven movies, like Return to Paradise and stuff, which is...
He did that remake of Psycho as well, which
Well,
I could not take him seriously.
Shot for shot, yeah.
Weird, wasn't
so
it?
he's made some interesting choices and kind of fell into comedy.
Yeah.
Then it seems, but he looks, because he's like 6'6", Brian. So in this film, he uses his physicality. He's an imposing. He's a criminal. He's kind of racist.
The whole thing of it is that there's actually a running joke in it where they're trying to guess his size. Like they think like, oh, is he 6'4", 6'6", which is funny. But yeah, like this is for me what I've seen him in, like all the films you mentioned. Like he's a big guy, but he almost kind of plays it off as if like, oh, I'm just a big guy. It's nothing really. In this, he is a towering presence. Like he is literally hulking over people, and just this kind of block of like muscle and anger, and just this complete veneer. But it's funny because like the film starts off like literally the opening 5 minutes of the film is him breaking a car apart with his bare hands. He literally is like, in the trailer, if you've seen the trailer, it's him literally just smashing up a car. And then, like, he goes inside his house and talks to his wife, who he's just found out was cheating on him, and he's just lost
Jennifer
his job. Jennifer Carpenter, who people know from Dexter. And then the film flash forwards 18 months later, and now he's this like really successful, really meticulous drug runner who basically is the person responsible for bringing in drugs and stuff like that. And like, even though the title is Brawl in Cell Block 99. I mean, the first half of the film is him kind of setting up the world, setting up him as a character, and actually building the film around him, which is unusual because most times when they do these kind of like grindhouse thrillers, it's really kind of like he's the rich one, he's the villain, he's the bad guy, he's the good guy. With him, they actually do build him up and actually give you a sense of his character, so that when it comes to the second half of the film and he's in the prison, the stakes are higher. It's like a horror film. Like if you can actually build up something and make you believe in him and make you kind of, if not understand him, at least kind of empathize with him, and you can see where he's coming from. And like, the performance he gives is brilliant, but also as well like the fighting that's in it. Now, I remember I was talking to Charlene Light because it's only been screened at the Lighthouse, and it hasn't been certified, and I can understand that why it hasn't.
You don't have to do that when it's single screen, and
if it's single screen and they don't have to certify.
It's that violent.
I'll tell you what happened, right? I was talking to Charlene Lydon in the Lighthouse, and I said, look, listen, I heard you're screening this. Will you send me a copy? And she says, yeah, grand. And she said, look, listen, she says, you're not squeamish, are you? And I said, no, not really. She says, right, well, look, listen, just you're going to need a drink after this. Now,
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
And I'm really, and like, you think I'm building this
Happy
up.
Friday, folks.
You think I'm building this up. I swear to God, I'm not even doing it justice. And here's how, right? I got a screener copy of it, and I went into the spare bedroom to watch it, right, on my own. and my girlfriend was in the next room, and she said every 20 minutes she could hear me going, "Holy shit!" Sorry. Again. But she said like every, but she was saying like every 20 minutes she could hear me shouting, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
And I'll give you one scene in it that happens, and this is just one
without expletives, Brian, if you wouldn't mind.
So he's having a fist fight with a prison guard, gets him on the ground, grabs his arm like that, and then snaps it right back, and you actually see the bone.
Oh, okay.
Like it is nuts. Like it is. It's just nuts.
So it's nuts. But you gave it a positive review.
But it's really good.
You called it borderline racist, though. What did you call it borderline racist?
Right, so
The film is, the character is, what do you...
the character is.
Well,
and
that doesn't mean the film is.
No,
He's obviously...
right. It's the kind of thing of every person he fights, more often than not, is a minority. Right.
But he's not like a superhero character, he's a criminal.
No, he's an anti-hero. He's an anti-hero in the tradition of, like, you know,
American history. What about American History X? Ed Norton's character in American History X?
That's a journey from him starting off as a racist to him kind of understanding
looking for
You're looking for him to become more human. In this, it's him being dehumanized as he goes along, and literally by the end of the film, he's like, you know, one of the Mexican guys, and he predominantly fights either Mexicans or Asian people or black people. He's always fighting them.
Yeah.
Like, he's never ever fighting fellow white people.
Yeah.
And like one of the Mexican goes, "What are you gonna do, gringo?" And he goes, "Don't you call me foreigner." And he goes, the flag ain't red, white, and burrito, and all this kind of thing. And like when he's first introduced, it's all like, you know, you're a patriot, you know, you believe in America, you know, you want to chop this flag up? No, you don't.
Yeah, but that's from the point of view of those type of people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The film's exploring kind of, I suppose, not neo-Nazism, but certainly an inherent underlying racism.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and maybe that's what the film is about.
That seems to me. I haven't seen it, but that seems to me that's what it's getting at.
That's what I think. I mean, if you want to go in for it, like the subtext of the film is how America and this guy Vince Vaughn presents himself as this forthright, upstanding character who is forced into this position, but really underneath it all, he's just like a really angry, violent person, like who has this propensity for it. How are we using these big words?
You have to balance out all the other crap you come out with.
Yeah, in fairness.
Somehow. Okay, it's good.
Really good.
But if you're going to head to the Lighthouse and go and see it, I didn't realize it was a single theatre screening.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself, basically.
Prepare yourself. Because if you've seen Bone Tomahawk, it doesn't even begin
Same director.
Oh
yeah.
my god, that's such a
Did you see
messed
Bone
up
Tomahawk?
movie. It's worse
worse
than any horror movie I've
Yeah.
seen in years. I was just like that final scene. I was like, I can't watch.
Yeah, it's worse than
I love
Bone
Vince
Tomahawk.
worse for
Vaughn,
men.
but I'll be avoiding that one. Anyway, Death of Stalin. Amanda Nucci, one of the most acrebic voices, Acerbic. Been punching the head way too much. Of his generation. Incredible voice. Obviously, Veep in The Loop.
Yeah. The
thick of it. Amazing. Malcolm Tucker created Malcolm Tucker, one of the most foul-mouthed characters in TV history.
Yeah.
Brian's one of the most foul-mouthed characters in Facebook Live history. Let's be honest here.
All right.
You gave this 5 stars.
I did.
Yes.
I did.
You're handing out 5-star reviews like they're nothing now, Brian. What's the story like? How many?
I've given out 3 this year.
3.
I've given out 3. One was for this. One was for The Farthest, which was an incredible documentary. Okay, incredible documentary. And the third
was. How much are they
was.
paying you, Brian?
What was the third
How much are
one?
they paying you?
What was the third one?
Can you remember? I bet you remember how much you got paid to write that 5-star review, there, Brian.
Hang on, now. That's going to drive me mad. What was the whatever it was?
Anyway, Death of Stalin.
Amanda
Stalin. Nucci. They all have their own accents. That's kind of the vibe here.
That's kind of the thing.
It's set in Russia.
It's set, It's
Is
set
it the 30s or 20s?
The 50s, 1953, and it's basically the death of Joseph Stalin and the power struggle that comes up between all the people who are around him. Now, you say that out loud and you think, God, I don't know, this sounds like a political comedy, and I don't really know if I'm into political comedy, and it's set in the history and all that. Don't let that put you off. This is just as funny, if not funnier, than Veep, than The Thick of It, than In the Loop, than any of the stuff that Armando Iannucci has done. And also, as well, is the fact that it is just really, really funny. It's so funny. Like, I was breaking my whole laugh and watching this. And I put it in the thing, like, this is the funniest film of the year. Now, I will completely agree with you and say it has not been a good year for comedies.
Yeah.
I don't think. It's been a pretty poor year for comedies. But I think this could stand toe-to-toe with some of the best political comedies ever made. And I'm talking like Wag the Dog, Primary Colours, you know, Doctor Strangelove, any of those like political satires, this could easily stand alongside them and be just as funny. Like, I mean, there's so many scenes in it that are just, you know, reward you from watching it. You know, that kind of way. Like, there was one bit when Jason Isaacs, he's talking to Jeffrey Tambor, and like that's the other thing as well. The cast in this, like Steve Buscemi, Jeffrey Tambor, who people will know from Arrested Development, Larry Sanders Show.
Hey now.
Yeah, hey now, Hank Kingsley.
Hey now, Hank Kingsley.
Right. Hey now, Hank Kingsley. Like, come on, like. But yeah, Jason Isaacs is talking to him, and he says like, "Oh, did Coco Chanel take a shit on your head?" I was going to do the Yorkshire accent there.
Charlotte Reed,
Charlotte
from
Huddersfield.
Is from Yorkshire.
Yeah. She's Yorkshire lass. But yeah, he says that, he says like, "Did Coco Chanel take a shit in your head?" And he just was like, No.
Is it me or is he cursed more this one after telling him not?
I know. I'm sorry.
He's doing it on
I'm really
purpose.
sorry.
I think you're trying to annoy us back for annoying you all
possibly.
the time.
Possibly.
It's a vicious circle. Anyway, it's good crack. It's good fun.
It's brilliant.
The cast is good. You spoke to Jason Isaacs.
Yeah.
You had an conversation with Jason Isaacs, who always seems like just an absolute dude.
He's so nice. He really sounds like, and really kind of like disarming, and kind of like almost disarming into the point of you're kind of like, fuck, how you get? Oh, how are you getting on? Yeah, right, yeah. Good, yeah, good crack. Yeah, kind of like he's just very amiable, you know, that kind of like really, really amiable and really easy to talk to, and like great interview as well, I thought. So.
It's great. We'll never get another sponsor for this show again.
I'm really sorry. Like, I don't mean to
it's going to be all Brian's fault. Okay, next week, there's a big one next week, Dean. You've seen this already. It's not embargoed, so can you give us a little taste of Thor Ragnarok and what you thought of it?
It's really good crack.
It's really good fun.
Such good fun. I'm so excited. I'll talk about it more in depth next week, but it's really, really funny and really just so much fun.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I
we're
really
going to get to it
it
next week as well, so be one of those occasions where the three of us have seen something. It's rare, but it does happen. Okay, that's it for this week, folks. Don't forget to enter the competition below. Thanks so much to Charlotte Reed in production, and we'll chat to you next week.